What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm still sick. I still sound like a fucking dying cancer patient. But UFC Abu Dhabi, I'm also very sleep deprived because it is right now 8 a.m. in the morning and I have no sleep tonight because I had to get up at 2 a.m. to watch this card. But UFC Abu Dhabi Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov just took place. I'm going to be recapping the entire card. I'll be doing less yapping in this one than I normally do because I don't think I can talk for that long. But yeah, main event was alright. Pretty interesting fight. It was Umar got the win. Co-main event, whatever. Feature fight, Figgy did his thing. Whole lot of other good stuff happened on the card. Whole lot of other shit stuff happened too, to be honest. But yeah, let's recap the card. Main event, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Corey Sandhagen. I picked Sandhagen to win as a pretty big underdog. It was my one major underdog on the card. I was like, oh, Sandhagen will be a bit more technical. He'll stuff some takedowns. He'll take over in the later rounds. I was way off. I thought Umar, if he was going to win, I thought his chance to win was just wet blanketing Corey Sandhagen. He didn't even need to do that. He outstruck Corey Sandhagen. Crazy. Fair play to him. First round, it was actually pretty competitive. A lot of the first three, or maybe the first two, but at least the first two rounds were pretty competitive. But then Umar kind of just stole them at the end because he would always get a takedown. It was the same fucking thing on repeat that happened every time. He would try and get a takedown, Sandhagen would try and roll out of it, get his back taken, and then just lose the round based off 30 seconds of control time at the end of the round. Umar did do well on the feet in round 1 and 2, but he did cut open Sandhagen, fair play to him for that. But it was, I do think Sandhagen kind of cost himself the first 2 rounds, or first 3 rounds, just because he kept getting his back taken at the end. But 4th and 5th was clear, Umar just dominated, outshot him, outgrappled him. 5th round was the only round where Umar just genuinely controlled it for a large portion of it on the ground. In the striking, Corey wasn't flowing enough with his shots. He wasn't putting enough combinations together. Wasn't throwing enough kicks, which was probably valid because he didn't want to get his kicks caught and taken down. But yeah, he was scared to open up as much as he probably would have in other fights. He looked pretty mid, to be honest. The takedown defense looked pretty solid, to be fair. But apart from that, striking did not look up to par. And he got outstruck by Umar, which was not the way I saw this fight going. I was like, yeah, Umar's probably just going to win via wet blanketing him. That was my guess, but I was like, fuck it, I'll pick Corey. But no, Umar straight up outstruck him, so yeah, fair play. Look, does he get the title shot next? Probably, I would imagine he would. Figgy got the win too, I'll talk about him in a sec, but I would assume they're going to give it to Umar pretty comfortably over Figgy. Figgy probably needs one more. But yeah, Umar, great win. Beat Sandhagen, the number 2 guy, and he goes from beating no ranked opponents to being number 2 from beating Corey Sandhagen. Crazy stuff. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, Shara Magomedov versus Mikhail Oleszczak. I picked Shara. Obviously, it was a pretty clear pick. I thought he would get the finish. Again, somewhat of a lackluster performance. It was good. He looked real good. He looks technical. He's got all his kicks and his flashy shit. But I'm just still not overly impressed by him. He got taken down by Mikhail, who's not a grappler at all. Looked pretty mid in the grappling again. Stuffed some takedowns, used the whizzer nicely. But his striking's sick. He's got great kicks. We know that. But his finishing potential seems to be pretty fucking non-existent. You're taking Tricoli to the 3rd round, and then you're not finishing Mikhail Oleszczak, even to the body. I get it if you're not knocking him out to the head with punches. That's understandable. But, Mikhail's being folded with body shots before, so, you'd expect him to be able to do something there, but unfortunately not. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Next up, Davison Figueiredo versus Marlon Chito Vera. I picked Figueiredo by decision based off more grappling. He actually did a lot more in the striking than I expected, and he had a lot more success. I did think he would be quicker than Chito, and I thought he'd be more technical. But I just didn't think he was going to engage that much. I thought he was going to secure a whole bunch of control time. But no, he pretty much outstruck Figgy in the 1st and 3rd round. First round was pretty close from memory. 3rd round was clear Figgy because he dropped him, which is crazy. First person to actually properly drop Chito Vera. Nuts statistic there. But 2nd round, Chito got it. And then 1st round, I gave it to Figueiredo from memory. Yeah, Figgy won the 1st. He got some takedowns, looked alright. Some up kicks. Chito landed some up kicks. I saw some people saying on damage Chito, but no, I thought it was pretty clear 2-1 Figgy. I'd say he should probably fight PDR next. That's my proposal. unless they want to not give him a title shot, in which case I'm down to see Figgy get a title shot. But yeah, great fight, great effort from Figgy, knocked him down, looked pretty clean on the feet, and Chito Vera again just proving to not be that good. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up we had Michael Chiesa versus Tony Ferguson. Yeah, Chiesa won by submission. Let's move on. No, it was very sad, very upsetting. Tony Ferguson, coming out with probably about his 9th excuse so far. I haven't sparred in years. I finally brought back sparring. So yeah, expect to see fucking Alex Pereira in the cage. I don't know what this guy thought was gonna happen. Cool, you started sparring at 40 years old. That's not gonna change anything, buddy. But yeah, I thought Chiesa was just gonna hold him down a whole bunch because Chiesa doesn't normally finish people at this stage in his career. But no, Michael Chiesa pretty cleanly just got the back straight away. Tony looked shit on the feet, really didn't land much. Chiesa landed a couple good shots, and yeah, goes to the ground. Chiesa takes the back. Chiesa chokes him out. Easy work. Very sad. Tony then in his interview, half retires, half doesn't retire. Then on his walkout, says to the crowd, I'm not done yet. So we're going to see a 9th loss in a row for T. Ferg. It's going to be very upsetting. I proposed this idea to my mate. I was watching it with some mates, and I said, you know what we need to do to get Tony Ferguson to win? We need to sign Sneeko to the UFC. We need to sign that pedophile, allegedly, of course. We need to sign him to the UFC, and we can give him the fight with Tony Ferguson. And if Ferguson somehow loses that, then yeah, honestly, I'm in favour of euthanasia, to be honest, in that situation. But yeah, that's my proposal. What do you guys reckon? Yes or no? Tony Ferguson versus Sneeko is the fight to make. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Next up, Lupi Godinez versus Mackenzie Dern. This was the pants around the ankles fight of the evening. I picked Mackenzie Dern by decision, nailed it, hit it on the head, got this one perfect. I said 29-28 as well. It was unanimous, 29-28. She won, was it the first and third? I think it was the first and third. Yeah, sounds right. What's her name? Lupi did alright, she did okay, but Dern was able to just look a bit better for the judges. Probably wasn't doing as much damage as they probably credited her with, but she was on the front foot, and that's the thing with women's MMA, because it's really impossible to tell, because none of the punches do damage, so they just decide whoever's on the front foot throwing more will give them the fight. So yeah, Dern got the win. She was close to an armbar at one point. She mounted Godinez, wasn't able to get the finish, but yeah, she looked pretty solid. Let's move on to the next fight. This, to me, was actually the standout performance of the card. Elvis Brenner versus Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez just tuned up Elvis Brenner, beat the fuck out of him for 2 rounds, finished him in the third with brutal knees. This was a crazy performance. I got to go back and rewatch this afterwards, but I was extremely impressed. And on the feet, if he shows up like that, I don't know a whole lot of, I probably can't give you 5 names at lightweight that beat this dude on the feet. Maybe that's just way too, jumping ship early. Okay, Islam, Oliveira, maybe. Even Oliveira, it might seem way too soon. You might be like, oh, he only beat Brenner, right? But he did not give Brenner a single moment. He looked incredible on the feet. Poirier, maybe. Hot take, he beats Gaethje. That's my opinion. I think, watching that, I think he chins Gaethje, to be honest. He looks so good on the feet, and he's got nasty submissions. His takedown defense, he actually stuffed some takedowns, which he pretty much never does. So yeah, he looked great on the feet, was just walking him down, beating him up. Really gained no respect from Elvis Brenner. Elvis Brenner really gained no respect from him, and he was just able to ignore all the shots, beat the fuck out of him. Knees in the third round were brutal. Crazy stuff. And then gets the finish. I had a bet on Alvarez by TKO as well, so I was quite happy. Let's move on, to the next fight. Next up, we got Alonzo Menafield versus Azamat Murzakanov, the light heavyweight Jared Gordon. That's my opinion on who he looks like. But, what's his name? Murzakanov smoked him. Won comfortably, looked great, won easily. Really ran through him on the feet, rocked him a bunch of times, hurt him. Beat him up, used him as a punching bag, ended up getting the finish in the second. Very impressive stuff from Azamat Murzakanov, and he remains undefeated. Top 10 opponent next, I'd say not unlikely. Let's move on, to the next fight. Kuir Fernandez versus Muhammad Yahya. Yahya was the hometown guy. He's the Abu Dhabi fighter, only one of them in the UFC. Kuir Fernandez said, fuck all that, I'm just going to smoke you, chew the fuck out of your legs, beat you up, smoke you in a round and finish you at the end of the first. That's what he did. Very impressive performance. Looked great. Great leg kicks, great timing on the punches. Obviously, Yaya's shit, but Trevor Peake took Yaya to a decision, so Fernandez, actually pretty solid fighter. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, Fat Man, Shamil Gaziev, rubbed his lard-filled belly all over Don'Tale Mays for 3 rounds. Very exhilarating stuff to watch. Took him down, got that spear tackle, got those real imposing your will style of takedowns, landed some big snappy punches, smiled menacingly, and that's the Shamil Gaziev special. He got the win, 30-27. Actually, not too bad cardio here. The conditioning looked alright from Gaziev. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, Guram Kutateladze vs Jordan Vucenic. I picked Guram because I'm like, Vucenic's not going to be able to push a pace and hold up with the cardio for 3 rounds. I was pretty much right. I said 29-28, got that exact as well. He won the first, dropped Guram, had the back, looked great, held him down. Very solid performance in round 1, but then round 2 started off a bit even, leading Vucenic, and then Guram kind of turns the tide, starts landing the better shots, getting some takedowns of his own. Third round, he got a whole bunch of back control to secure the third. But yeah, he looked alright in the second and third. First round looked a bit suspect, kind of got pressured a little bit, kind of got bullied around by Jordan Vucenic, who's big as well. I thought he was going to be really small because he's normally a featherweight, but actually a pretty big dude. So I'd like to see him go back down to featherweight if he can make it safely and cause some problems there. Let's move on though to the next fight. This blonde bitch lost her she's shit. She got pressed by Sam Hughes, who looks like a fucking 50-year-old lesbian farmer. That's my opinion on that fight. It was terrible. Let's move on though to the next fight. Jai Herbert cleanly outstruck Bedoya, looked way better, dropped him in the first, had a great performance for most of the fight, got bloodied up a little bit, got bruised up, but apart from that, it was a clear win for Jai Herbert. And then Cedric Dumas, otherwise known as 21 Savage, NLE Chopper, whatever one you want to use, he got the win against Dennis Talon. Looked pretty mid at times, but looked alright in others. Pushed a bit of a pace, shot some takedowns, did better in the striking, and then in his post-fight interview had to clarify, I ain't never beaten a woman, or he said, I've never beaten no woman, that shit's in the past. So you've either never done it or it's not, because if it's in the past, that means you have done it, because that's like, you don't say I've never beaten a woman, that lack of me beating a woman is in the past. Like, that seems a bit of a weird thing to say. So yeah, interesting interview from 21 Savage. But that is the card done, guys. Quick recap. I'm losing my voice. I sound like a retard. I sound sick as fuck. I am sick as fuck. Card was a struggle to get through based off just the time, but there was fun moments. Tony lost, which is sad. Sandhagen lost, which is sad. But yeah, I'll probably do next fights to make if I can fucking survive the day. But yeah, peace out, boys. See ya.